So thank you everyone for joining the second Giveth AMA call. I'm here with Wojtek and with Lorelei, and some more people of the Giveth team might join. So to kick it off, I'm Chris, and I'm responsible for communications in the Giveth team, and I give it to Wojtek.
So hey, I'm also going to introduce myself. I'm Wojtek, and I'm responsible for defining what the DApp should do and making sure that it happens. And I see Griff, so I'll give it to Griff.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm Griff Green, and I work hard to make sure that we are moving forward always in all directions and lead the governance campaign. And who's the L?
We have Lorelei.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Lorelei. I'm conflict resolution person at Giveth and multiple other matters of human interaction and various governance things. Yeah, that's me.
Nice. Okay. Well then, we can start immediately with some questions, or we can first give an introduction of where the DApp currently stands, whatever you guys prefer.
I'd love to see, well, are there questions? But I'd love to hear the Wojtek's info on the DApp, personally.
Sure. Let's start with that.
All right. So basically this call was scheduled so that we are already using the DApp as it was designed to back in like November. And I can share some feedback on that. So we actually did go live as we planned. Right now, the DApp is live on the main network, you could say, because we're bridging the donations from the main network to a sidechain. And all the logic is happening on the sidechain. It is right now possible for anyone to donate money to any of our campaigns or any of our communities that we have, any one of them. And so far, it looks like there hasn't been any horrible issue. So all the money are safe. Everything works. We have some duplications of migration campaigns, but as migration milestones, but that's not an issue at all. And it's something we're going to fix. And the only significant problem that we have is that Griff has 2 addresses. So some of the campaigns have the old Griff's address, but again, that's something we can resolve in an hour.
Great. So yeah, for people who are just diving into Giveth for the first time, we're currently live with with our beta actually. So yeah, maybe you can explain a little bit more about the basic flow of the DApp as well for people who don't know Giveth at all, Wojtek?
Yeah. So what we're trying to build with the DApp is we're trying to link the givers directly with the change makers. And we're doing it with 3 different entities, you could say. The lowest one is Milestone, where the change makers define what they're going to do and how much money that's going to cost. People can donate to it, and there's a whole workflow around it. Basically, they will not get paid until independent entity called reviewer will confirm that what they've promised was actually delivered. We group these milestones into campaigns, which are really real life projects. So it could be schools, or it could be orphanages, or hurricane relief programs, anything. And those are really, again, people can donate directly to them. And those are something that group all the milestones and have a clearer long-term mission, I would say. And the third, the last entity is called DAC, Decentralized Altruistic Community. And this is for people who do want to make an impact, but don't have time or don't want to, or aren't really that passionate about one single project. So DAC is something to which you can give money, and this DAC can delegate it on your behalf into the projects that actually make the mission of the DAC a reality. So it could be DAC school, education, children, health, anything, or the Giveth DAC.
Yeah, and so actually the Giveth DAC, so the Giveth Decentralized Altruistic Community, is the first community that is actually live on the DApp and using the DApp on a day-to-day base, right?
Yeah, that's the case.
Yeah, so maybe could you briefly show what the DApp currently looks like to give a visual view of this?
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. Let me just try and find how I can share.
It's the second button on your left-hand side. So in the meantime, what I can explain is that the Giveth DAC, we have 4 circles, and you will see this in the DApp. That you have communications, governance, the DApp development itself, and then you have social coding. That is more of our incubator kind of circle. We have some other circles live on there, and in the meantime, Wojtek was able to share it, so he'll show this immediately.
All right, so what we have here is the Giveth DAC, which is so far our only DAC. It looks a little bit lonely here, so we're going to make sure to add a couple more soon. But what we have plenty of are campaigns. So we have the 4 main Giveth campaigns, which is the Giveth DApp, the communication circle, Giveth governance, and social coding. So let me look the Giveth DApp development, which is the campaign that I'm owning. And there's a bunch of milestones, basically rewarding us for our past work. So for example, here is one that's rewarding me for developing the DApp, initiating the final release with the testing, and you can see how much money I've gained for it, and who was my reviewer. Actually, maybe I can demonstrate even something better, which is now Satya's. Wait, no, it's not this one. Let me find it. Because Satya actually is the first one who really got paid through our new DApp. And his money, it's a little bit difficult to navigate now. We know that the UI should be improved, but okay. So for example, RJ here, he created a milestone a while ago, and I fully funded it. So I've sent the money from the Giveth campaign or the DApp campaign into this milestone. The money originally comes from the Giveth multisig, and the state is that RJ basically said what he has done, and I've accepted the milestone. So this is a new feature that we have here. This is called milestone records, and it's really one of the things that is going to add transparency into the charitable giving through Giveth. All right, do we already have any questions?
No, we don't have a lot just yet. So
Jody has, if we want to
Go ahead.
take any guess.
Hello, I just would like to ask what's the current status of the relationship with Aragon? That's maybe the question.
Maybe Griff can answer this
Okay.
one.
What did you say? I can answer it.
Sure.
So right now, last week we had a meeting with our. I'm still in Switzerland, and we actually had our first daily sync just minutes ago with Daniel Constantine, who is going to start doing some. Investigating Clausia, who is leading, I are leading the effort from the more non-dev side. And basically, the status is we are doing the initial groundwork to start this thing. We have kind of a handshake agreement with Aragon that we're going to start working closely with them to actually improve their dev work. Here, maybe I should. Sorry. Just and so we're gonna with Aragon to work on their special effort to integrate Aragon into Giveth, and Aragon is actually gonna fund our development, but it's not going to be just about integrating into Giveth. It's more improving Aragon from the user's perspective. So being the devs for the users. And so we're basically a second Aragon dev team, or at least we're building a second Aragon dev team on top of Giveth. And actually right now there's a Lumio proposal.
Sorry, Griff is breaking up a little bit. Yeah, so oh yeah, there you go, Griff.
Go ahead.
No, you're back.
I was just going to say Giveth has its own little governance process. So first we have to go through that to get the Aragon DAC up, and then it can actually start running.
Okay, great. Well, maybe it's a good segue. Can we maybe explain a little bit how the different circles work? So you're responsible for the Giveth governance circle. Can you explain a little bit more about what you do in the circle?
Yeah, so one of the cool things that Giveth's platform is able to create is a decentralized altruist community. And so these communities are a new type of structure that needs a lot of research. And so the governance campaign does that research and does the practice of trying to figure out how do we run decentralized organizations effectively. It's definitely a 10-year project. There are very few blockchain DAOs out there right now, and effectively we're trying to make sure that nonprofits can be in the game as well. And so the governance is focused on modeling solutions for decentralized governance, improving the opportunities for decentralized governance within the Giveth DApp, and then also just governing in a way, doing all the bureaucracy that is required to make Giveth work. Managing events and helping model some sort of decentralized governance even within Giveth. So like right now we're working on a proposal to actually give every Giveth Unicorn a certain amount of funds to decide how those funds are spent within Giveth itself. Kind of a unique model that honestly I don't know if that's been done anywhere yet. So
Nice. Yeah, so that brings us actually to a question that Cleo had. If we're going to go with the unicorns again, because in the tweet we mentioned the Giveth Unicorns, and Griff just mentioned this as well. And if we were going to move to a unicorn logo, so I guess this is a perfect question for me in the sense that I'm following up on everything that is communication. So what we do with the communication circle is bringing out everything that the 3 other circles do. So that is the governance circle, that is social coding, and that is the DApp development. And right now, actually, we have a contest where we want to bring back the unicorns a little bit. So Cleo, if you watch this, you should definitely participate. We will be promoting this a little bit more in the coming days, and probably extending the deadline a little bit, because the vacation has started. For many people, it's summer. People might be less in front of their laptops, but we want some great branding so that we bring some more unicorn vibe back into Giveth. So Giveth used to have a unicorn logo. We rebranded to have a new logo, but we still the Giveth DAC, so the community that is building the DApp and doing a lot of the other initiatives that Griff just mentioned. Also, we call ourselves the Giveth Unicorns. So we're kind of fluffy, huggy kind of people, which makes sense to us as we're all about community and about the people. So to answer, yes, unicorns are not going away, and they might be coming back a little bit more in our branding. But the current logo is also definitely going to stay. And then, so currently we don't have a lot of questions. We have some viewers though. We have Andrew C, who says hi to Griff, and Kara is also on the call. Jacob Piotrowski also says hi, especially to Wojtek. But we want more questions, so don't hesitate to ask us anything. Yeah, so we don't have Arthur on the call right now, who's responsible for social coding, but that is the only circle we haven't really talked about. So what I can maybe say in his place a little bit about this is social coding. With this, Giveth really stimulates and supports projects that do blockchain for good or for social good. And so we are sort of incubator in this circle, where people can come, propose a project, and find other people to work on this project. The other way around as well, if you're a hardcore experienced developer or you're just a newbie, you can also come into social coding and learn all about Solidity. So definitely join us. So everyone can always join via join.giveth.io. And we have actually a hackathon coming up this summer. So more info you can find about this in our channels as well. Griff, maybe you want to add something about social coding specifically?
Yeah, I mean, really, social coding is a great place to hang out if you have a project in the space, especially one that doesn't plan on doing an ICO or have a monetary, like a good way to make an economic profit. We actually have this awesome program called Reward DAO, where if you make progress, if you help Giveth in any way, even just by helping your own project, we will actually dish you points. And then those points eventually turn into Ether. You don't really know how much Ether they're worth until the end of the month. But that's a way that we are trying to support projects that are just making the world a better place. Yeah.
Nice. And Wojtek, talking about Reward DAO, is there also a way for people who want to help build the DApp? Could they also use a Reward DAO? Are you actually actively looking for new contributors or not?
Yeah, so Reward DAO is a great opportunity if you just want to start and pick a comment from pick a issue from our GitHub. We're going to reward you for it. We still have some open bounties on status open bounties, and maybe even one on Gitcoin still. I'm not sure right now. So those are generally a little bit better defined. You can also join our call, which is every Wednesday. This time it will actually be on Tuesday. I will announce it soon. And in general, we are right now looking for improving the UI, and we would like to have one or two additional developers in the DApp circle. One of them being mostly UI, another one will, we'll see. We'll see basically where the talent is. I think we have a space for almost anyone.
Great. Yeah. So if people want to join, you can check out our GitHub via github.com/giveth, or you should just join us and come talk to us, which is very easy via join.giveth.io. And we have a question now. Thank you, Kara. So this is a question for Griff, I guess. So as far as governance goes, is there any info you would like DACs to collect to contribute to improving that? That as in improve modeling solutions for decentralized governance.
Yeah, anybody who's creating a solution, I actually know that Kara is looking at doing something similar to what we're looking at for our unicorn basic income strategy, but probably without giving people money directly so that they can fund other people. But we're definitely going to be watching projects that are implementing decentralized governance models on top of Giveth really closely and documenting it. I think that it will take a little bit of time before that is happening in full force. There's it's really, our UI isn't explicitly made for complicated decentralized governance explorations. So that's one of the big reasons we're partnering up with Aragon, because their UI is made for that, and their whole system is made for that. That's what they're doing. So once we have it kind of integrated in, I see that as I see Giveth honestly as a perfect opportunity for anyone to experiment with decentralized governance models. If they have some kind of project that they have investors for, and they don't really want to just like throw them into the wolves and try to do a DAO with their own untested decentralized governance ideas, they can actually start a charity first and have their investors receive maybe $100 per token or something to delegate to different campaigns within the charity that started. Maybe they care about ending homelessness in Barcelona. They can support different projects that do that and practice their governance system while making the world a better place. So that's kind of it's one of the many different opportunities that we have with Giveth. Obviously, other organizations that are already making the world a better place and want to do that with better transparency can use the DApp too, but specifically the governance campaign is kind of looking at the DApp from that angle. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I think it does. And so, Kara, yeah, if you want to join in, we have, and anyone else, so we have our 4 circles who are also represented on Riot and on Slack as well. If you go to join.giveth.io, you can just join it, and there you will see when we discuss this, we also make we always make Lumio proposals, as you heard before. So there we you will see these pop up, and then you can, whoever is in our community is very welcome to share their opinions or their thoughts on this and their experience, so that we can make a better proposal for anything that has to do with governance, which is of course also the same for the other circles. Any other, hi Xardas, thanks for joining as well. And Kara just confirms that it's very clear. Then, so Wojtek, maybe it's not, we don't give away timings right now of specific timings, because a lot is changing and changes all the time in the Ethereum space. But can you tell a little bit more about the roadmap? Like, are we on schedule? Do you have an idea of how the project will evolve in the coming months? Can you share anything with the people out there?
Yeah, of course. So we're actually looking at redoing the roadmap that we have right now publicly. In general, we're not trying to add any new features that are not right now in the DApp. More or less until the end of the year, we're just going to make sure that everything works well, that everything is well displayed, that you can actually, as a donor or as a delegate, that you can really get the transparency and the accountability from the platform. Because right now we've been mostly focusing on receiving the money, not so much on the giving part. We're also looking on onboarding projects soon. So one of them will be half onboarding, which is the the Aragon DAC. That's going to happen hopefully rather soon. And in September, we really want to add external projects to Giveth. So projects that are maybe within our community, as in they are part of the social coding, they know what we are doing, but they are not part of Giveth. And
Okay.
yeah, I hope we can do 5 projects every month. In general, the idea is that until the end of the year, we are very likely not going to be open for anyone to just create their own campaign or DAC.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, and in the meantime, so before we open it up to a larger public and we start onboarding these projects that Wojtek is talking about, you are very, very welcome to help us test also the different releases that we are current. This is our closed alpha, or we can soon start talking about closed beta even. So do join us again via join.giveth.io. And yeah, right now, I don't have personally any other questions. Nobody else has any questions. Lorelai, do you have any questions for the team? Something that you think of that you always wanted to know?
And now that the team has walked into the room here, yeah, why are you here?
For whom is this question?
For everyone. Yeah, why are you here at Giveth and not on any other projects right now?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. So I'll start answering because I see Wojtek is also a little bit distracted by people walking into the room. So why I'm here? So personally, I started with another project. They're actually here in the chat. So we have King Flurkle and Xardas from Swarm City, and so they dragged me into the Ethereum space. And when this happened to me, this was a moment that it was really time for me to go away from the corporate environment I've always been working in, and I wanted to contribute to society in a really meaningful way. And I looked into other ways, but I saw that a lot of charitable organizations were working in a very inefficient way, that it was kind of a black hole, and that you didn't really know what was happening to your funds. There was a lot of transparency lacking. So to me, this is a very important element of Giveth. That's definitely one of the main reasons why I'm here. And yeah, also because Giveth is more than the DApp. The DApp in itself is already a fantastic project that we're working on. But also because we're working on, as Griff mentioned, on governance experiments. We're working for social coding initiatives. So we're really doing a lot of things that are focused on blockchain for good. And I really believe in the power of decentralization. So actually, it's extremely exciting to be in this space right now. So I'm giving it to Wojtek. Wojtek, why are you here?
Well, I'm here because I've always wanted to have something like that for charitable giving. I've been 2 years ago when I've been still at CERN. I've been doing something called humanitarian hackathons, and one of the problems that the projects that were actually solving real world problems in the end had was, how do we continue from here? How do we scale? How do we actually get enough money to make our projects a reality and actually help in the world. All of those things were prototypes, and they worked, but they needed funding to actually change the world. So that's why I'm here. Griff?
Yeah, so I'm here because start Giveth with Jordy and the White Hat Group to fill in some of the space that the DAO left. The DAO was my first blockchain project. Well, pretty much my first blockchain project, and we had some crazy. The DAO is a crazy story, so you should look that up. But decentralized governance needed a safe place to play, in my opinion, and that's and there wasn't very many serious charity projects, unfortunately. And bringing transparency and accountability to all organizations is really important, in my opinion, and charity is probably where it's the most important. So that's why we really started this, is transparency and accountability to the charitable space while experimenting with decentralized governance in a risk-adverse situation, right? So that's pretty much why I'm here, and I wouldn't be anywhere else. It's also really fun to work as an experiment in pushing forward blockchain-based entities. As Giveth doesn't have any formal legal structure. We're completely run on smart contracts, and I made a decision a long time ago that that's where I wanted to be, is in this in the blockchain space, and like hardcore all the way. So that's why I'm here. And Lorelai, why are you here?
Okay, I'm here because being an activist for a long time and finally making my way around to the people who realize that they should be building an alternative rather than fighting the current beast. The like one point of major blocking to their mission was to get funded in any sort of business-like, transparent or accountable way. They don't have nonprofit structure necessarily available to them because people who are doing really radical things are not people that the nonprofit industrial system complex wants to fund. So like I think about Food Not Bombs, right, is this this nationwide, and I believe it's global as well, organization that takes food from grocery stores that is past its expiration date, so it like legally has to be thrown away into a dumpster. They're not allowed to give it to people. And Food Not Bombs goes and picks it up and delivers it to people in need. They just kind of host a casual little party in the park where they give out free food to people. And this is so against the American laws that it's on the top 10 list of FBI wanted terrorist organizations. This group that's just giving out free food. That is so ridiculous to me. That's like a great example of why this needs to change, and why like people who are giving and providing social services and change need to have access to like a system of getting funded that's professional and works really well, but that isn't, fascist government policed nonprofits. So I've been like looking for that for years, and then I met Giveth.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, 4 different voices on this. was a really good question. So thank you, Lorelai. So I'll answer some of the questions that now came in. First with the less serious, although it is. Why do we all have beards? First of all, we do not. Lorelai is a little bit in the shade, but she does not have a beard, so I can confirm that.
Oh, I'm here.
And so Wojtek answered that it makes us more senior and maybe because we're not so good at Swarm City. I think it's also Swarm City people, Giveth people are very fluffy and very soft people, so maybe it makes us look a little bit tougher. So that's why we have beards.
Yeah, and let me just say that I'm Santa for Burning Man every year, so my beard is gonna get out of control the next couple months. Just a heads up, I'm not shaving for a while.
Yeah, I noticed. Nice. Yeah. Then a good question about Kara is, oh no, first we have a question by King Flurkle. When will Giveth work on Swarm City? I guess first of all, Swarm City has to work, but maybe Wojtek, you have something else to add there?
Well, I'm just going to say, let's talk about it. We're going to see each other soon, so that's an excellent question.
Okay, great. And then Kara has another question. If you can go over the bridge, what does it do and why is it necessary? So Wojtek, when you explain this, maybe you can also share, you have a little bit of a visualization of this, right? Maybe that can help while you explain, if you have it close by.
I know where to find it, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and while Wojtek's finding it, I just want to say it'll be really easy to work with Swarm City because they're also using the bridge. And I hope that we get to collaborate with them on the bridge. Just an update on the bridge, we found we might be making an alliance with POA Network, and Roman from POA Network, who's a solid dev, might possibly be moving to the bridge full time. It's still in the works, but that's really exciting for us because right now we're using what we call a ghetto bridge, which is one server that is relaying between the two networks. But and I'm sure Wojtek will go into detail on that. But we want to upgrade it as soon as possible. This is more of a proof of concept stage, and we just from here in Switzerland talking with POA Network, I think we're going to make a strong effort and a collaboration with them and move off of the parity bridge idea that we were going before because parity hasn't been making as much progress as we'd like. And actually, I'm going to confirm this with parity in a few days when I'm in Berlin. But Wojtek, maybe you can take it away.
Yeah, I'm almost ready. My computer is just overheating from all this sharing.
No problem. In the meantime, Griff, I can let you know that Xarda says that your beard already looks awesome and that you cannot forget to shampoo it.
Oh, good idea. I actually did. I shampooed my hair and fully missed the beard. Man, can you smell it from there, Sardis?
Okay, I think in the meantime, Wojtek has found his slide, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just quickly going to say it. We have two reasons why we're using it. One of them is because we're using liquid pledging, which is a great contract, which is very flexible, extensible, and full of features. But it's also very complex, expensive, and not yet fully battle tested. Another reason is that there has been issues with transactions being very high, and it's actually more of a problem now than it was in the past. And at some point, when we were trying to go live in January, we actually had almost all the features we have right now. It was too difficult for us to actually use on the main network. So we went back to the drawing boards and we started to think, how can we have a scaling now? How can we reduce this transaction cost? So that's why we came up with the Giveth bridge. We call it Giveth Ghetto Bridge. And the way it works is that it's two contracts, one of them on the main network and another one on a sidechain. On the main network, it plays a role of a vault where the donations go in. It gets logged in there, and the corresponding amount of tokens gets emitted on a sidechain. You then do whatever workflow you want with this on this sidechain, and once the workflow is done, you send the money out to a contract that burns the tokens and releases the money on the main chain from the vault into the corresponding address. And since we have a Swarm City here, I'm just going to leave this screen here.
Perfect. Yeah, so right now these are, oh no, there's one, another interesting question by Xardas. So how would you avoid something or someone funding nefarious DACs, like funding extremist groups? So personally, I would say, sorry, I'm with my hands in front of the screen because my cat is walking here. I think we will definitely have a simple rule book set up for this, but this is something we're currently working on. Wojtek, maybe you can add something to it. I'm distracted by cats.
Yeah, so it's not a problem for right now, because right now we're going to control who actually gets added to the Giveth DApp. But in future, from the UI, I think we might be able to censor it for some more years, 1 more year, I would say. After that, we want to be fully decentralized. So maybe there could be a smart contract that people can subscribe to, and it could be like a safe, moderated smart contract just for the UI. So people can really, yeah, we can have a governance about the moderation. That's a experiment in its own that we could run. And I can imagine that there will be multiple UIs for multiple use cases, maybe even.
Yeah, in the end, we can't stop people from jumping on our smart contract. And if they want to do that right now, if anyone wanted to launch live, they could do that. But our UI has whitelists that Wojtek and RJ control, because we have this we have the strategy, which I really approve of starting out centralized with a path towards decentralization. And for now, in the end, of course, anyone can create stuff on Liquid Pledging and interact with our smart contracts. But if you want to be displayed on Giveth.io, you have to be whitelisted. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, nice, and it's indeed a work in progress. We also have other interested parties right now, let's say, who are starting now that Giveth is becoming a little bit bigger, that decide to donate funds to the Giveth DAC. So this is also something that we're working on to see, like, from whom do we actually want to receive funds, and are there some funds that we actually don't want to receive and that we want to send back. So this is actually a new Lumio and a running Lumio proposal. And so if you have any thoughts on this, you're actually very welcome to contribute to this discussion, because this is all work in progress. So yes, this was the last question that we currently have in the list. I'm scrolling through it to see if there's anything else. So if there are no more questions coming, maybe I would leave it for everyone to say some final words. So Griff, do you have anything else that you want to share with our audience?
Sure. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. This is our second AMA, and we don't expect there to be a whole lot of questions or anything, because we're not making any big pushes anytime soon. But we wanted to get ready and just like bring transparency and give people an opportunity to really collaborate. Although this is not at all the only opportunity you have, all of our meetings are completely open for participation. We do 3 or 4 online calls a week at least. So feel free to just ask to be a part of them. I believe there's a DApp team meeting. Usually it's on Wednesday, although this week it's on Tuesday. There's governance call, which happens every Thursday at 6, and a comms meeting, which I think is the best onboarding meeting, is Wednesday at 5. All these times Barcelona. So thanks for watching, guys.
Wojtek?
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. This was a wonderful experience, and I hope that we're going to have many questions, many contributors, and many more AMAs as we go forward to change the charitable giving.
Great. Lorelai?
Hey, yeah, I appreciate the questions and the chance to get to put you guys on the spot for mine. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the great question, Lorelai. It was a really good one that we hadn't prepared an answer to at all. So that's nice. We just had Jared joining, and he did have a question. What makes us so awesome? Thank you for the compliment. We are not. We're just trying to make the world a better place. So also from my side, thank you for joining. We don't have big things to share right now, but we will keep on doing these AMA calls as we grow, as we onboard more people. So we hope to see you next time for the Giveth AMA call number 3. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for moderating, Chris.
Bye. Thanks.